resuming. But now we have Mark D. Martin, who's joining us, CEO of MartinConsulting, who's now joining us. Hi, Mark. Thank you so much for taking the time out and joining us.
Thank you for being here, and thanks for having me. A black day in aviation today, very unfortunate.
Absolutely, Mark. It is a black day, in fact, in the history of aviation, one of the most heartbreaking, heart-wrenching crashes that we have seen, But Mark, there are a lot of news pieces floating around. We don't know what has really happened till the time the black box is retrieved. But what could be the potential causes of this big accident?
Well, I think the first thing what I would like to say here is that, we should respect the dead. The pilot is no more. He tried his best from the video we've seen so far. He's tried his best to recover, put his nose up and escape from the obstacle and collision. He just was not able to make it. And I think we should not speculate. Clearly, what has gone wrong is an extremely technical issue, whether it's got to do with the engines or the pilot not getting the thrust he wanted to continue his climb. But I think all agencies need to get together. We need to have the FAA, the NTSB, EASA. We need to have DGCA, AIB. All agencies need to come together. This will be a global investigation. This is not something which is going to be localized to India. And I think for such an incident, we've never had such a catastrophic disaster in 35 years, and it's significant for the simple reason that the 787 is a technologically advanced generation 5 plus aircraft. It's one of the most advanced. This aircraft had a flawless maintenance operation history with Air India under government management. It was running fine. I think starting 2021, Air India itself has been not just in this, in several areas, lacking in terms of maintenance and flight operations, with the DGCA even slapping very high fines on Air India. So whatever that's happened here, I think it's high time the government cracked the whip and hold all those in management accountable. The pilot had 10,000 hours of flying. He was experienced. He was a TRE, TRI. So I don't think there's anything wrong over there. I think clearly what we're seeing here is something which is systemic, something which has been there all along, but being brushed on the carpet, and I think enough is enough. This incident has already sent ripples across the world. Boeing stock is down by 5% even as we speak. So I think clearly I would request everybody out there, there are a lot of people speculating to the cause of crash, why it happened, what could have happened. I think we need to hold our horses, wait for the investigation to come out, start putting pieces of the puzzle together, and ensure that whatever in future, we never see an incident like this ever occur.
Right. Mark, let me take a leaf from what you just said about the plane being of the most advanced quality, 787, Boeing 787 Dreamliner. But speaking of that, you also mentioned Boeing stock is down 7 and almost 9% in right now. But Boeing has had troubled history. We have seen multiple whistleblowers that have accused Boeing of prioritizing speed and profit over safety. Is it time that we also held the authorities accountable for that? Because Boeing has been in the news for a while now. In fact, almost intense scrutiny after two fatal 737 MAX crashes in 2018 and 19. So Boeing has been in the line of fire in that sense.
Absolutely spot on. I think even the FAA has slammed Boeing. Production line of Boeing has been shut down by the FAA. The 737 MAX production is halted. But let's remember, this aircraft was flying since 2011 and 12. So it's been flying with Air India under government management. It's been fine. Whenever Air India under government management was there was never any halt or spending in maintenance. Maintenance quality was very good. Yes, it is true that Boeing has had, Boeing is possible, if you compare Boeing and Airbus, Boeing has had the worst track record when it comes to safety incidents, from the 737 MAX to 737 NG crashes in China, to several others. But I think this particular event, this incident, has to be investigated. I don't think that the two are connected, although yes, it is a Boeing aircraft and we can criticize Boeing as much as we want, but this has to be an independent investigation because from what we've seen, he took off, he tried his best to climb out, he did not, and he had something which is called exceeding sink rate, and the aircraft just sunk down and impacted those buildings over there, which is no pilot ever in his career would want to be in a situation like this. There was one similar incident which occurred in Emirates Airline where a 777 took off and the pilot could not climb out because of several factors, including flap settings and so on. But thankfully, that did not result in a disaster. But to see this today, it has already sent rippling shockwaves across the entire industry, across the world. And it's not just Air India and the government of India, but every airline that operates a 787 will want to understand what went wrong. And the government it's high time the government of India and the DGCA cracked the whip and held all those accountable in the management of Air India. Because let's be clear, Air India is a private Air India. This is a privatized Air India under Tata and Singapore Airlines management. The government is not responsible, and therefore the government should be, throwing the book and should be throwing the law on this airline right now. Because, we all wanted Air India to be privatized and disinvested. Yes, we've got what we wanted. Now, clearly in the last 4 years since disinvestment, we have not seen Air India shape up except for a branding, which was never the real problem of Air India. The problem of Air India were issues that were systemic to the airline ground up, and that clearly has not been fixed. The DGC has been finding Air India constantly for the last 3 years. The aircraft quality of Air India is the worst. So I think what we need to do is we need to look at this independently in isolation. I'll caution everybody, don't expect a magic wand situation where the investigation gets out in the next couple of days. This is going to take time. This is a very serious accident. It's a very serious air disaster. And it will take time for all the information, pieces of the puzzle, the DFDR, the CVR, the radar tapes, the radar communications, take time for everything to come together to understand why this happened.
I'll request you to hang in there. We're getting some more updates on about the crash. Let me go across to my colleague